I am sitting on the biggest black ball you've ever seen in your life. It is swollen, filled to the core. Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo. You are not. And welcome to the big show. Today's Monday. You know it's my favorite day of the week, and that's because I can bounce when I talk to the camera. It's freaking awesome. I'm just doing my aerobic workout here. I love this thing. Anyways, today we got a big show today. One of our favorite guests, she was on, I believe, in Trace told me this earlier. I think it was March of 2021. It was somewhere in there. And she was fantastic. We're excited to have her back. Before we get into all that, a couple things here. First off, today we're still working on Nora's dragon book, Irresistible Dragons, Dragon's Mate. It's book one of Irresistible Dragons. And we're working on it specifically because I lost my voice last week. I know. It's very difficult to be me and not talk, but I did. I actually tried to do a video on Saturday in the Paranormal Romance group. I tried to do a live reading for the video, and I had to tap out halfway through the reading. So we're almost back to fighting shape here. We started back again today, and we've already done a couple hours in the booth on Discord. We're hopefully going to be after dinner, after Talk to the Beard and then dinner, we're going to be back in for one more session tonight, and we're trying to keep it going here. We're moving from that on to Huntsman, which is a Morgan Bryce project through Tantor, which I'm excited about, and we'll have that done by Friday. I have gigs all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and this coming Monday too. So keep an eye in the group here if you're a regular and you like watching these Talk to the Beards live. I think the next week's Talk to the Beard is either going to be far later on Monday or potentially even like Sunday or Tuesday. Because I have a gig on Monday. It's a charity gig for the Ronald McDonald House. I thought he had a house, but apparently no. So we got to raise money for him. I'm not sure. But we're doing all that. As well, we have on the 15th, it's going to be a recorded video this time. I think it's this Friday. It's going to be in the Romance group, and that's with M.A. Grant. A lot of people have been asking me about M.A. Grant and the series. Now, we're actually working on the final book in her Whitethorn trilogy this month. I think it's the last week of the month. Don't quote me on that. So we've got that coming up. It's going to be very exciting. But we're going to be doing an interview. If anybody has any questions for M.A. Grant that you want me to ask, please feel free to shoot me a message, shoot Trace a message, or even, just drop them in the group and Trace will grab them. Any way you want to do it's fine by me. But any questions, because this is going to be recorded, we're not going to be able to ask these questions live. Past that. Really not business as normal this week, but we're bouncing. We're having fun. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest here. Everybody remember, be extra polite. Kyleen doesn't like swear words. She doesn't like to talk about sex. So remember that. Here we go. Without any more from me, we have Kyleen Neuhold. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? Coming to you from my kitchen. Sadly, ballless. No balls
Yeah.
here, none.
I keep on thinking of that song. I don't know any more of it, but I wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I was a baller.
I wish I was a ball.
I'm enjoying it.
Yep.
Yeah. So how is Wisconsin, man? Is everything all right? Are the mosquitoes, are they out now? Are they eating you? Well, they're coming out and picking
You
you
know
up?
what? We haven't had too many, at least not that I've noticed. We keep our lawn short, so maybe that's helping. But yeah, we've been doing like fire pit nights a couple nights a week, and really, I've gotten one mosquito bite on my foot so far, and that's about it.
Dude,
So,
you are lucky.
knock on wood.
Well, we have been doing a remodeling project at the old homestead here.
Yeah.
We have our house is built. How old's your house?
It was 91, so 30 something. 30.
Okay. 1906.
Wow.
This is in America. That's ancient now. I know. I get people from
Right. That's
overseas.
like the oldest house you can buy in America, basically.
Yeah, overseas, that's a new build. It's
Right.
so part of it was falling down, and it was kind of a tragedy. So they're buddies of mine that are working on the house, and they're awesome. It is weird.
That's the important question.
Well, I don't really know how to qualify this.
Ask your wife. Get your wife in here.
Yeah, they are men. I mean,
okay, that's a good start.
Yeah, they're alive. That's it's fantastic. They're loud. So that's the adjustment. Is and they're good guys and everything, but you hear them they've got heavy metal blaring out there right now, and they're screaming along at the top of their lungs, working happily away. It's awesome. Have you ever had any work done on your home before? Have you gone through this process?
Only a little bit so far. We only moved in here. It'll be 2 years in October, so this is a newer house for us. We did have a whole fire pit area put in our backyard, so that was
Awesome.
like a couple days of work. But actually, just recently, our neighbor, who we share a fence with in the back, was having their whole fence put in. Like they had it torn down and put back in, so we were fenceless for days, which the Huskies did not like. But I was like, because I see into the backyard from my office, and I was like obsessed with this for some reason. I got no work done for a whole week because all I did was sit in my office window and watch them build a fence.
You were watching. Were they?
And I was driving my husband crazy because their work hours were insane. They would, so this, that was, blah. During this week, it was in the 90s the whole week, which in Wisconsin is basically like death weather.
Yeah.
And they would not start work until like 11, and then they would work for an hour, and then they would take a 3-hour break, and then they would come back for 2 hours, and that would be their whole day.
That is
That was
called.
it.
That's called. I framed houses when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I did a couple of these things. So here's the way it would work. This guy would roll around and pick us up in his van because most
Yeah.
of us couldn't drive legally. And he would dump us back in there. There's 6 of us or something like that. And he would
Mhm.
pass back 3, we called them fatties, big ass fucking joints. I mean, fat,
Nice.
the
Yep.
good shit too. Pass
Yep.
3 of those back and coffee. And that was our start. We'd
Perfect
roll up
morning.
on the,
Okay.
yeah. And like lunch, we didn't go anywhere and we didn't eat. He would give
Yeah.
us another 3 fatties and we'd pass them all around, and that's how we did it. Uh, yeah, somebody said that made you
Okay,
think of
so
the Four
that's why
Bears.
they didn't get until 11. They were too stoned to find the house. Okay, got it. Yep, makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Now the crew that's working on mine, they're actually buddies
Yeah.
of mine from a 12-step program. So they
Yeah.
are in fact not typical. Some people actually do smoke pot and do that. We can't. Most of us that are
Yeah.
hardcores, we just can't. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're clean out there working, which is awesome. I know that about them at least, and they're good guys. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but the distraction of it is actually, I got a husky for this story for you here.
Yes.
So to start this all off, right before the project started, we had, and I know you're going to have a good one. We had our husky we had them come in and put a dog door in. Do you guys have one of those?
No, if we had a dog door, my one husky bear would bring dead rabbits in the house. So no.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Absolutely not.
so the one we have 2. One's like a half blood husky. The other's full blooded
Uh-huh.
husky. The full blooded husky has no interest in coming inside. She just doesn't
Yeah,
want to. We
that's
knew.
fair.
Yeah, as soon as we put in this dog door, we're like, we're never going to see her again. Um, she goes out, and we have like a half acre fenced in yard, and we're out in the
Mhm.
country. So I told her, don't let any critters on the porch. The porch is going to be
Yeah.
rebuilt in a couple weeks. It's wide open. Don't let any critters in on the porch. That's all you got to do. Other than that, you're a teenager now. You
Yep,
do
yep, you
you.
can handle it.
Yeah. So sure as shit, she tried to run a raccoon off, and the raccoon freaking got her right on the paw, all the way down to the bone. It was a bad one.
Oh
So
no, poor thing.
yeah, so we had to go in, and they cleaned it all up. They stitched it together,
Mhm.
and they put a cast on her for a week. Now
Mhm.
they sent her home with the cone. Have you done the
Cone
cone
of
yet?
shame. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my, dude, a husky with a cone. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Um,
no, not fun.
So it came off after 2 hours. We're like, yeah, this is because like all you hear is this. It's horrible. So that came off, and she did fine with the cast. So we went and we got the cast off. The
Okay.
next step is they wrap it, and they keep it wrapped for a week. That
Mhm.
was last Thursday. Last
Okay.
Thursday evening, she tore into it because we took the cone off.
Because it's
Tore
starting to
into
get
it.
itchy now. Like the good healing's it. Yup, she wants to scratch it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So Jody wraps it on her own. My lovely wife, she tries to take
Yep.
care of it, which is excellent. So Friday, I'm in charge. Got workers outside now. They're working on the sun porch, rebuilding it for us. And Jody's off to help a friend, and I'm trying to work in the house. I've lost my voice mostly at this point, so I can't record anyway. So I figure this is
Yep.
probably a good thing. So I look down, and she's chewed the entire thing to pieces. Now I have a gig this evening too that I have to work, so I have to pack up the PA system. I got shit to do, and I can pick up heavy stuff and make shit sound good. That's what I do. I do not wrap
Yep.
husky feet. So I called the vet and I said help, and I had to go drop her off again. So now, long story short, I know too late. She's back, and she has the cone of shame again. She's had it on for 3
Yep.
days, and she's staging a protest.
Yeah.
Um, She will not drink water. Fuck you. I'm not drinking it. I'm going to dehydrate myself until I die. That's her
Right?
goal. Um,
Water
she
strike. Okay.
Yeah, we had to get the little pill pouch thingies to put her pills in because she will not
Yep.
take those. And we have to shove them in her mouth and hold her jaw closed like we're evil. It's horrible. So, yeah, it's a stubborn. So, how are your
Yeah.
huskies? Everything good with your husky?
Yeah, they're good. They're good boys. The older husky, so he's a year and a half now. So he's kind of finally hitting that like little bit more mature phase in his life. Except he did get banned from daycare. We tried to take them to daycare when they were doing the fence, and the first day we went to pick him up, and the like daycare manager came out to talk to us, and he's like, "No, I hesitate to use the word bully," and I was like, "Oh no." So he's not allowed to go play with the other dogs anymore, unfortunately.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, he likes to kind of hunt in our backyard. We have lots of bunnies, so that's kind of his favorite activity in the world is to watch the bunnies through the window and then go outside and try to catch them,
oh
which he's
yeah.
got a pretty good track record of. He's they are not very fast bunnies. And then we got little Nandor. He is 7 months old now, so he's still kind of in that puppy phase, and he's
Oh,
just now hitting that phase where he doesn't want to listen to anything. Like
oh
he's
yeah.
just constantly on the counters and just doing whatever he wants to do. So yeah, basically all days, Nandor, 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 stop, stop, stop.
That sometimes that doesn't end. So Rogue is 4 now. She turned 4.
Yeah.
We still consider this with a husky the teenagers. I'm telling you.
Yep. Yep.
And with her, here's one thing that happens with us. So, oftentimes I would leave the house at night to go to a meeting. This used to be my deal. I go to evening meetings. So I'd leave about 7. I'd be back about 9 or 9:30. So every time Rogue would, traditionally, she would post herself up at my control room. I have a room above my booth here, and there's a
Yep.
stairway going up outside. She would post up. We call it the princess spot. She would lay up there in the
Aw.
princess spot, and she would wait for me to come home. It was her job. She
Mhm.
wants it. They just want a job.
Oh, huskies need a job. Yep.
Yeah, they have to have it. So
Yep.
now, a lot of times I work late in the control room instead of going to meetings. I'm doing morning meetings. So it's still the same deal. Jody
Mhm.
cannot get her to come inside for shit. Literally, you can go out. The only thing that'll get her is if you go get the leash, because man, she
Yep.
loves a leash. So you go get that. But other than that, she will growl at you. And we know
Yep.
she's not going to fucking do anything, but it's like, "Brrr." It's
Right.
like, stop. What are you
She's like,
fucking.
leave me alone. Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, good luck with that. It's not going to end
Yeah.
anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's how Bear is. He just wants to live outside, basically. Yep.
Hmm.
And then Nandor, he's our clingy little guy. He just wants to be by us. So he'll go out and do his business, wants to come right back in.
Yep, that's our small one, Mela. She does the same shit. So
Yep.
I've got a couple things that specifically, I don't normally plan these things out,
Mhm.
but I wanted to switch gears for a second so everybody understand that this is going to be switching gears entirely to kind of a serious subject. And I haven't
Okay.
talked
Yeah,
about
no
this a lot
problem.
on the air as of yet.
Yep.
When did you hear about Susie? What was your experience? Did you get to speak to her prior? Anything like that at all?
Unfortunately, I didn't know Susie super well. We'd
Okay.
only talked really a couple times. I knew her mainly through Nora. We met one year when I was at a conference, 20 books to 50K. It's, an author conference that was in
Hmm.
Vegas. That was the one time that I really met her was we went over to her house and hung out. And yeah, she's so sweet. She's such like a warm, welcoming person.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually heard that morning, and my PA Abby, she messaged me and told me the news. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was a rough day.
Yeah, we haven't dealt with this a lot here on the
Mhm.
air, and I guess I've had my opportunities. And I realized this
Yeah,
coming up. I was like, well, you all.
yeah,
Um, anyways, the news hit us hard, and I wanted to
yeah.
address this specifically. I had actually spoken to her just via text the day before,
Oh my gosh,
and
yeah.
I kept in fairly close contact, not as much as I would like. We were very close friends at one point,
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and but
Mhm.
yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of feedback in the community or anything else, and I want to
Yeah.
touch base with anybody I knew that I thought was close friends, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, the wait, am I wrong? You did a co-author with her, did you not? Or was that
No. No,
okay?
only with Nora Phoenix, and
Okay,
I've done
so it
one with
was
Mia Monroe, but that's it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was, and I'm sorry too. It was Ranger that I was thinking of. And that's with Nora, not with
Oh,
Susie.
yep, with Nora, yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember I was like, I thought I recorded that book, and I think I did do
Yes.
Ranger, right?
Yep,
Okay,
you did,
cool,
yep.
excellent. They blend after a while, dude.
Mhm.
They really. Jesus Christ, I've got a big black ball, and you have the largest water bottle I've ever seen in my life.
Biggest water bottle ever, yes.
That is
Actually,
amazing
the
to
funny
me.
thing, so I got this is like the how much you're supposed to drink in a day water bottle.
Yeah.
And then my husband was like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna order one." And he ordered one accidentally that was like twice that size.
Wow.
Like nobody needs that much water.
No, no, no. That's. You can actually kill yourself with too much
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
Um, But Abby, you were absolutely correct that actually, for one thing, Abby said, they absolutely blend together after a little while.
Hmm.
Maybe you've had this experience too, and maybe with your
Yeah.
books. For me, I don't know, I record 50 to 75 a year, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And after a little while, names of books, for one, become meaningless to me. And two, names
Yep.
of characters oftentimes become meaningless to me after a while.
I
Um,
actually have a big spreadsheet that I had Abby make for me that has all my character names on it because every time I name a new character, I have to go check it. Otherwise, I would have like 5 names that I would just use in rotation.
yeah. Well, Nora actually does this better than anybody that I've seen in the industry, as far as our genre, and she makes sometimes, hey Nora, if you're listening, sometimes a little too fucking ridiculous names, but just crazy names that nobody's ever gonna like. Palani, who the
Hmm.
fuck?
Hmm.
Which, by the
Yep.
way, I wanted to eat a panini so bad doing that book. Um, but yeah, right now I'm working on one where she's using Gaelic a lot, and some of the names are
Oh,
Gaelic
nice.
inspired,
Yeah,
Gaelic influenced. So none of the
very
letters
cool.
match the sounds. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
They just do their own thing. They've made up their own, yeah, pronunciations.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. I made up a whole story about
Nice.
that earlier today. How do you find yourself naming your characters other than just, well, I haven't used Steve yet, or do you use a baby name book or anything like that?
I use baby name websites sometimes. I do have just like my own spreadsheet of when I hear names in the world. I'm like, oh, that's a cool name. I'll write that on the spreadsheet to use it another time. And I do a lot of like nicknames for characters. So like just cool words that I'm like, that would work for a name. you know, that way you kind of keep from reusing Steve and whatever over and over again.
Oliver. Abby said Oliver. You'd reuse Oliver
Yes,
over
I
and
want to seriously. I would name like every third character Oliver or Ollie if I could. Like I'm constantly trying to do it.
well,
I
there.
actually just had somebody ask me because I have a story in the Dirty Daddies anthology. And
Mm,
someone had asked in my group, "Oh, is that the same Robbie as who just showed up in the Big Bull Construction series?" And I'm like, no, sorry, just use the name Robbie twice.
it happens. Well, the
It's hard to
spreadsheet's
keep
a
track.
it's a great idea, the spreadsheet thing.
Hmm.
I have Trace, and Trace has like, I don't know if it's photogenic memory. Is that what you call it? I don't know. She's very photogenic, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But she has that thing going on. So like we're recording, I'm
Nice.
like, who the hell is Bobby? And she were like reminds me of this time 7 years ago in the history of this particular. It's amazing to me how she does that. Abby's got the same thing going on. She's very, very
Oh yeah.
organized.
She's very
Um,
yeah. I can't even tell you how often I have to message her and be like, okay, so if I'm starting this book, what season should it be based off the last book in the series?
yeah.
I would not know any of that stuff without her.
Voices for me too. Voices a lot of times where I'm
Oh
creating
yeah.
voices. She's even got like the code down of like I call like Bobby. Bobby is
Mhm.
this voice right here. That's the one I use
Yeah,
for Bobby. It's named
yeah.
Bobby. So she knows my code for my Harrison Ford
It's
voice. I do
amazing.
that. Yeah, she knows them
Yep.
all. So she's like, you did Harrison Ford for that one. You did Bobby for that one. She'll like name them off for me. It's fucking brilliant.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I know. Are you doing GRL this year? Are you coming out again?
Yep, yep, coming for GRL. Really looking forward to it. My sister actually lives in Virginia, so just booked a ticket so I can hang out with her for a few days before and then drive to Portsmouth. Yep.
Dude, that's beautiful. That is
I know.
awesome.
Yeah. I'm
And it
excited.
makes I'm doing a B&B. I've never done an Airbnb in my lifetime, so
Oh,
I'm trying
yeah.
that for the first time ever.
I like Airbnbs because I like having access to my own laundry. It's my favorite thing ever. Staying at a
Hmm.
hotel, you're just stuck with you know, I forgot to pack enough shirts and now I have to wear a dirty shirt again. But if you're at an Airbnb, you can wash it and it's amazing and I love it.
My first convention, I didn't take a. I will not fly with a fucking bag. I will not check a
Yeah.
bag. Just will not. So I had everything in a backpack, and that was my.
Yep.
I'm gonna live out for a week in Amsterdam. So I was washing clothes in our sink.
Oh,
Just like figured it out.
yeah.
Then, do you know in Europe they don't have the, like in America they give you an ironing board and an iron, and
Mhm.
they had an
Yeah.
ironing room is what they had. So
Oh, weird. That's different.
it's weird at 7 a.m. when all you got is boxers. and
Yeah,
it's,
that's
and you're,
super weird.
I was like, oh, they're European. They're used to hairy pits. This is going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Yeah. I, so then I designed my wardrobe around this. So I don't know.
Mhm.
We're doing, let's say GRL. I planned for about
Yeah.
5 days for this, right?
Okay. Yep.
How many shirts and pants and such do you think for 5 days?
Okay, so here's the way that I plan. Is
Okay.
I plan like in case it's gonna be hot or in case it's gonna be cold. So it's like two options for each day. Plus, then like on signing day, I need at least 3 or 4 shirt options because I don't know what's gonna look cute that day. So let's see, 5 days with a signing,
Holy
like
shit.
15 shirts.
That's how many bags? Plus you got to get the books there and shit too. What do you,
Well, so the nice thing about being in Virginia, I've actually all of the GRLs I've gone to, I've driven to them, or they've been in Virginia, so I've shipped all my stuff to my sister, and then I rent a car and drive.
that's what, yeah, because I would think you'd have to be
So
like
yeah,
Indiana Jones
it's
chartering a
terrible.
plane. That would be, you could see
My
like
packing is terrible. It's out of hand.
that's
And
five.
I was trying
So,
to cut it down. I'm like, maybe I don't need this. But then I get there and I'm like, I really wish I had that one fucking shirt that I took out of my suitcase yesterday.
I mean, I literally only own like 5 shirts. Like that's all I own. And I own like 3 pair of jeans because one of them for
So
funerals
you
and
just
shit.
take everything you own, or you just take one shirt and one pair of jeans and you're set for 5
I
days.
do two shirts and typically 1 pair of jeans, and I'm good. And so I do I discovered this. So after Amsterdam, I was like, I am never fucking doing that again. So there's this material called merino wool. It is
Okay.
the coolest thing ever. So
Huh.
what it is, it's wool, but it's not scratchy wool or anything. They're like
Hmm.
super fucking soft, and they make t-shirts
Yeah.
and underwear. So I wear
Oh, okay.
boxer briefs. Thank you very much, and I wear
Nice.
an
Sounds very
undershirt like
fancy.
like
Yep.
this is a merino wool undershirt. This is what I
Oh.
always wear.
Is it
Um,
like hot or is it very breathable?
no, super breathable. It's
Oh,
you,
okay.
you think wool, and you're like, no, I'm
Right,
not wearing
right.
that
I was
shit.
thinking like, yeah, hot, sweaty. Yep.
Not at all. It's like the softest material known to man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it has two qualities about it. One is it doesn't wrinkle very easily at all. So like my t-shirts and shit, if you hang them up for a half hour, they're fucking
Mhm.
unwrinkled. It's amazing.
Nice.
Then the second thing is they are antibacterial. So
Oh,
they actually antimicrobial, I think is the term.
okay. Yep.
So they don't absorb odors, and so
Nice.
you can wear these for literally months at a time, and you don't have to wash them.
Mhm.
It's unreal.
Oh,
Now I'm talking
nice.
even socks. I have socks.
Wow.
You do not have to wash them.
Hmm.
You just simply lay them out for 24 hours. Are good. So I rotate 2 pair of socks, 2 pair of
I don't know if I
underclothes,
could do it.
two
Socks to me
shirts,
are
and a
like
pair of
underwear.
jeans.
Once I take them off, even if I take them off and I'm gonna put them right back on, I can't do it.
I'm
It's like
telling
the
you,
underwear thing. It grosses me out.
I didn't believe it. And then, so here's me testing. You know what you have to do, right? You're like sitting
Yep,
there
you gotta
like,
sniff them.
do
Yep,
they,
you gotta
do they?
smell it.
But then it's unbelievable. So I'm like, Jody, smell this. And, it did not go well. But I've gone for like 10-day jeeping trips with 2 shirts, 2 fucking pair of underclothes, and a pair of jeans. I took a pair of shorts for that too, because sometimes it gets hot. And we're
Yep.
camping and shit, you know? And
That's crazy.
it's beautiful. I love it. I just replaced my shirts and my underwear. That was 3 years. 3 years I got out of all that. I know all of
Wow.
you wanted to know that shit, right? I wear the same fucking pair of underwear every day.
Wear the same underwear every day for 3 years.
Well, I mean, I have 2 pairs, so I flop them back and forth. It's
There you go.
it's beautiful. And yes, Trace, a pair of jeans for funerals. I have a nice pair of jeans. They don't have holes in
Oh,
them.
okay.
Oh, I can't help it though. I have a few questions that have come in here, and some of these are silly, and some of these are good. And I think one of these actually came in last time, but I did not. I tried to prep for your video. I actually watched 5 minutes
Okay.
of our last video. 5 minutes. Do you enjoy writing sex scenes or do you cringe? I think that one
Oh,
came
I
out
love
last
it.
time.
Yeah, I love
You
writing
into it?
sex scenes. I won't write them, if it's a day where I'm just not in the mood to, then I'll mark it and come back to it another day. But yeah, I love it. I can't understand or relate why you would want to write sex scenes if you hated them.
Well, I've
I mean,
talked
that was
to.
like the main thing that attracted me to wanting to write romance. Actually, when I was younger, I was really into high fantasy and paranormal stuff, but I was always wanting to write sex scenes. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just be a romance author.
Yeah. Who was your favorite fantasy series from when you were a kid? What did you like a lot?
Um, oh yeah, I had a lot. I mean, Lord of the Rings, of course, is iconic.
Yep.
Let me think. See, my mind always goes blank when I have to answer a question like this. So I'm trying to remember now, and now I can't remember any books I've ever read. Um,
So I loved what got me into fantasy was Dragonlance. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
oh, okay. No, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss, and they've done a lot of
Okay.
shit too. But that was like the D&D world. There were a lot of
Oh, nice.
authors
Yeah.
writing in
Yep. I
D&D.
love stuff like that. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but then Robert Jordan came out with the whole Wheel of Time series, and
Yep.
that
Oh,
was
yes. That's a good one. Yep. Yep. I
yep.
like that one a lot.
And
Yep.
then George R. R. Martin pretty much destroyed fantasy at some point when he came along, and you're
Right.
like, "Fuck, how can anything be this good?" I mean, I can't read anything else
Yep.
now. Yeah,
That one,
but
see, I've never read any of the Game of Thrones because it was too daunting to me. They're so long, and there's so many of them. I was like, I can't. I would have to dedicate my life to it, so I'm just not going to go down that road.
it makes all other fantasy look bad. It really does. It's
Yeah, yeah.
incredibly intricate. But he does this thing I really enjoy a lot, which is he will make everybody is a good guy and a bad guy. Everybody.
Mhm.
There is
Yeah.
no clear cut. And oftentimes when I'm narrating and when I'm reading a story to prep to narrate, it frustrates me sometimes when the bad guys are so fucking unrelatable. Um, I,
Yeah.
I I really
Yeah.
like having that. Like, you know what? I kind of agree with the bad guy in a way. I kind
Yeah,
of see his
I
side.
totally agreed. I love like villain redemption and things like that. But also, on the other hand, if you give them any leeway, next thing you know, the readers are like, but is he going to get a story?
Oh yeah,
So you just have to make them an irredeemable asshole if you don't plan to give them a story.
isn't that the truth too? I've seen that happen. One of my have you had that happen where you've had a character flip like that, where you side character or an evil character, somebody like that, and you ended up having to put them in as the main character?
Yep.
So tell me
Actually,
about that.
I don't think I've had ideas where I've wanted to. I don't think I've actually trying to think back if I've actually done that. I don't think so. I've had an idea though in my Daddy King series. There was this one guy who was like a pretty big asshole the whole time, and I've wanted to do a redemption arc for him. So that book might come eventually.
It's so much fun.
It is, yeah.
Early on in my career, this happened to me. It was maybe in the
Yeah.
first 10 books. I was horrible. Um,
Yeah.
and this book came out, Rick Reed, I'll never forget. He's a hell of a writer.
Okay.
It comes around, and the first book, it's written in first person, so I'm having to do this entire book in this voice here, and that's just fine. I can do that all day long. And they're the evil character. This is, by the way, here's a tie back from where the Bobby voice came from, because Bobby was this really annoying evil guy, and he sounded just like this the entire time. And it turns out he fucking gets his redemption in the second book, and now I have to be
And now you're
Bobby.
just all like that for the whole book, right?
Oh my god, yeah, my wife hates that voice so bad. It's horrible. That redemption of the characters, though, that's always
Yeah.
been an exciting element to me, and being able to flesh out
Yeah.
every character in the book.
I
Do
agree.
you?
I think because in real life, most people are not totally black and white. So I think it's a lot more realistic and a lot more 3 dimensional to give
Mhm.
people like a reason that they did that bad thing or acted that way, and to kind of dig into that psychology that made them the bad character to begin with.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah.
Kenneth Obie, of all people, one of the
Mhm.
he was the narrator in the scene,
Yep, yep,
um,
yep.
and he was a good friend of mine before he
Yeah.
died, obviously, and I'm still friendly with his wife. Um,
Mhm.
that sounded wrong. Denise, I'm like envy already. Anyway, so he was actually a writer and a really accomplished writer. He's how my studio got our start years ago. He wrote a series called the Dead series, and one of his main
Mhm.
characters in it was such a hateful piece of shit. His name was Garrett, and he was a 30-some-year-old drunk pedophilia rapist. You
Oof.
can't
Okay.
get
Can't
much,
really redeem that.
but he fucking did. So, and let me tell you how. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting how he did it. He just went back to Garrett's childhood. I
Mhm.
don't know if I've ever related this story before, but I've related the concept because it really changed my life.
Yeah.
In the fact that Garrett he shoots back to his childhood, and of course he's being abused by his mother, hardcore.
Mhm.
The controlling
Yeah.
factor of it, his mom's an alcoholic, beating the shit out of him every day. And as he walks through the story of his childhood, it only takes a chapter or two to really tell that
Yeah.
story, then bump back up into the future. While you certainly don't agree with the rapist pedophilia nature of Garrett, that's just about the
Right.
worst shit you can do.
Yeah.
You at least see how he got there.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And you see the control aspect and how he wanted to control the situation. So while it's
Right.
absolutely horrible, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The homophobe that we constantly get in this genre sometimes
Mhm.
is the flat character to me. Um,
Yeah.
you've got the classic small town setup, right? And then you've got the homophobe sheriff or somebody like
Mhm.
that. That what I want to know is why. I go, why does he feel that way?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's tricky in this genre because you also don't want to make excuses for homophobia. You know, if you're going to make a character homophobic, like it's all well and good to be like, oh, well, he learned it from his dad. But also at the same time, like, grow the fuck up and think for yourself and realize that it's another human being. You know, so I think there's always that kind of fine line between wanting to keep the tone right, you know?
Hmm. Now, is that
Yeah.
a decision that you would make as now I'm getting really deep into here?
Okay.
Is that a decision that you would make just to literally maintain readership, or is it a
Mhm.
decision you would make specifically for the characters involved? Because the maintaining readership is pretty goddamn important. Let's face it, we're business people
Yeah.
here. You want people to read your
Yeah.
books. You want them to like them.
I would say, you know, decisions like that definitely come down to reader expectations and keeping readers happy. I think that's the trickiest part of being an author, actually, is, you know, you have all these grand ideas in your head, and sometimes things are a lot deeper and more complex than what turns out in the final product.
Hmm.
Because some of the time it is a matter of, well, readers are not going to be accepting of that, so I need to kind of keep that a little bit more toned down or make it a little more relatable, or just play into more the expectations of the genre, which
Hmm.
admittedly is the safe choice. But like you said, you know, business decisions sometimes.
Oh, I've made them constantly,
Yeah.
and some of them I'm proud of, and they're good decisions. And others I can think of several times in my business career where I've
Yeah.
made decisions specifically because of the genre, and sometimes I
Yeah.
regret that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had one come up. It was in the group several years ago. I never planned to have this Facebook group, and maybe you've had a
Mhm.
similar circumstance here. There was a we have rumbles in the MM romance genre. We have witch hunts and
Yep.
rumbles happen sometimes,
Yes,
and
we do.
yeah, and I learned luckily from a good friend early on. She said, just stay the fuck out of those. Don't comment on
Yep.
any of them.
Keep your head down, wait for it to pass. Yep.
Good advice. That's good, solid business advice.
Yep.
Somebody that was on the receiving end of the witch hunt, and it was a fan. It wasn't an author or anything. It was just a fan.
Yeah.
I say just a fan. That doesn't really sound exactly what I'm trying to
Yep.
say. The fact that they didn't have a financial stake in this,
Right. Right. Yep.
and they joined our group. And we were like
Mhm.
500 members or something at the time, pretty small group.
Mhm.
They joined the group, and immediately I got somebody reaching out to me saying, "Hey, John, just so you know, this person is the person. They're the person from the witch hunt. And they said this, this, and that." And it was a transphobic remark, which
Oh, okay.
the person
Yep.
said it was a bad one. In fact, it wasn't good.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a time where I stood up, and
Yeah.
it's because I come from a
Mhm.
background in a small town, and I don't know if you've ever been to small town America before, especially in the 80s,
A little.
90s. That
Not in the
was
80s, no.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit older than you. It was not a pretty place at all. Certainly
Yeah.
for homosexuals and gay in
Right.
general. Anybody in the rainbow not
Hmm.
accepting. Even
Yeah.
people of just different colors weren't very accepting.
Sure.
That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
And it was by the kindness of people in the community around me and my friends that I was able to
Mhm.
completely change my perspective. Um,
Yeah.
I was fucking ignorant. That's all there was to it. I
Oh.
was ignorant, which
Yeah.
is how I saw this person. I
Hmm.
looked at this and said to myself, that person's ignorant. I don't think they're hateful per se. They're just ignorant. So I allowed that person into the group and I told the person commenting on it, you can leave if you wish.
Hmm.
That's up to you. But this person is going to stay until he says something really offensive. And even if he does, I think I'd rather just explain it to him and see what he
Sure.
says.
Yeah.
Um, that's one time where I stood up and I was very excited about it. Now
Yeah.
you've been in the community long enough to see some of these witch hunts yourself at this point.
Too many.
Yeah, yeah, and observe them. How do you treat that in your group? Do you allow any commenting of that sort of thing? That's a pretty broad question.
Yeah, that's always a tough one because there is that trying to find a balance between keeping it a safe, welcoming environment for everybody. And as you said, trying to educate people. So I would say, depending on if it was a large infraction, obviously, banned, you're done. I've certainly had times when it's been smaller things that I think weren't meant to be taken as negatively as people took them, or the person doing it or saying it didn't realize how their comments or posts or whatever were coming off. And then I try to reach out and explain, like, hey, this hurt people's feelings because XYZ. But yeah, I try to stay out of it as much as possible and just try to keep things nice and welcoming for everybody. I think that's the biggest thing. And it's hard. It's not always
Fuck yeah,
easy.
it is. Have you had an explosion in your Facebook group yet? Like one of those big, like you got to go in and make a letter and write it all out and explain to them what it's
You
going to
know
be?
what?
And
I've been super lucky that I have not, knock on wood, had any of those where it's, readers being really mean to me in my Facebook group, or any, really egregiously bad posts or comments. I've been really lucky, and hopefully I won't have to deal with that.
no, I
At
haven't.
least
I
that isn't
haven't as
too
well.
much.
I've not had to deal with it. We've been so lucky. We do lay the ground rules of don't be a dick. You
Right,
can be into
right.
dicks, but
And
don't
I,
be a
I do
dick.
have post approval on, but to be fair, that's mostly because otherwise the same, like, TikTok video or meme will get posted 80 times in my group. So post approval does help with a lot of that too. Because if you see something, you're like, oh, it's kind of iffy, I'm not going to approve that. Makes it a little easier.
So speaking of which, there's been a big question going around since the last time you were here, and in the
Okay.
recent months too. Um, how do you decide what color to color the penises in your coloring book?
How
This is
do
coming
I
from,
decide?
I mean, this is coming from more than one person. And somebody else just mentioned, I got your coloring book. That was Jane. They're very popular. So how do you, is it by characters? You're like, I know this character is of color, so I'm going to make them, or do you go with orange? I mean,
You
what do
know,
you,
to be honest, I have not colored in the coloring book. I own it, and I bring it out to show guests when they come to my house.
of
Like,
course you
here
do.
is here is my pornographic coloring book,
So Reverend
but I've
Johnson,
not
thank you for
actually
coming
colored.
over.
Actually, I've showed, like, my whole family. My parents have seen it. My brothers have seen it. I'm always like, look at my coloring book.
That's fantastic. I got nothing like that. I got a butt baby award. That's all I got. It's fantastic. Dude, Anna Weinhardt, do you know her? Have you met her?
Yeah.
She, as you know, she likes to draw.
Mhm.
And she has sent me multiple pictures on occasion. Anytime we were talking about something, within 10 minutes, I would get a picture hand drawn by Anna Weinhardt for it.
It's amazing. I'm so
The butt,
jealous of people who can draw things. I've always wanted to be
dude,
able to.
she's brilliant. Um,
Yeah.
she sent me one of, for some reason, it came up. I am a chocolate fiend. I love chocolate and peanut butter.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Reese's are the
is
best ever.
I
Yep.
made the mistake of mentioning. It started with Anna Bird sending me a 10-pound box of chocolate from Germany. That was ridiculous. And then I made the mistake of mentioning this in the group on a live video. So pretty soon
Yeah.
people were just sending me, don't ever announce, unless you really want this to happen, don't ever say, I love cookies or something like that because, dude,
Next thing I
P.O.
know, I'll be eating my body weight in cookies because I won't
Oh
turn
my,
them down. I'm just gonna eat them.
I couldn't. I finally had to come on the air and say, y'all are literally, I'm going to die. And they finally stopped. The PO box is just fucking overflowing with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it came to pass one day. I'm chatting with Anna Bird. She had written a vampire series, and
Mhm.
I somehow mentioned that I would suck dick for chocolate. I don't know why I did. I'm not sure how accurate that statement is, but pretty soon, somehow Anna Weinhardt had a picture of me sucking a vampire off with like a chocolate bar. To this, I know how that worked.
That's amazing.
She's fantastic, man. What are you writing right now? What do you got going on?
So I am getting really close to finishing up the second book in my newer series, Big Bull Mechanics. So it's the spinoff from the Four Bears Construction.
Nice.
And this book is called Stroker. I love coming up with the names for
Wow.
these books. Book
That's
one was Crankshaft. Book two is Stroker. So
You're killing me. You're killing me,
I'm like
Smalls.
5 chapters from the end. So I'm hoping that I'll get it done this week, if not early next week. So right, the end is very nigh.
How does that work for you? Your editing process in the end there. Do you put it through several stages of editing with another person, or do you doing it yourself? How are you working it?
Yeah, so usually when I finish, I do my own read through. And actually, so I'm kind of my first draft and my second draft are sort of one and the same because I'll go back as I'm writing. Like I'll go back and kind of read through chapters before and tweak them and change them. And I've got an alpha reader, Mia Monroe, so we
Yeah.
trade back and forth chapters
But
every day. And
I got to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt in the middle of this. I love Mia Monroe, by the way.
me too.
She
Like
she
I'm
was
obsessed with her. She's my favorite human on the entire planet.
she was like my therapist a few weeks ago. I had her on and I like dumped my soul on the air and she helped me, walked me through the stages. She was fantastic. Sorry, please go
Yeah.
ahead. Mia
No.
Monroe reads
Oh
for
yeah,
you.
she's an amazing human being. Definitely, that's an appropriate aside. So yeah, basically, first and second draft are kind of one and the same, working on edits and stuff as I'm going. And then when I finish, totally finish it, I will do a full read through where I'll look for typos, make any little changes that I didn't catch during that first, second draft process. Then it goes to editor, and then I check it, and then it goes to proofing, and then I check it, and then it goes to my ARC readers, and then they always email me and be like, "Hey, here's some typos that you missed," and then it's out in the world.
That's actually it's a very similar process, and I've seen a lot of people do
Yeah,
that. But you actually go through an extra editing step too, which is fantastic.
yeah,
The those the editing mistakes. I'm just talking from my world here, and maybe
mhm,
I don't know how it hits you.
yeah,
For me, if a book is, let's say, questionably edited,
mhm,
that ends up taking 2 to 3 times the amount of time it normally does for me in the booth, and I don't price for that.
yeah,
I don't say
yeah.
X number of dollars if your editing is shit,
Right.
which is a harsh way to put it, but I mean
Because
it's.
sometimes you're probably trying to figure out like what word did they actually mean here, or things
Oh
like that,
goodness
right?
gracious, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and shit happens. They
Mhm,
slip through. It's going to happen to the best of
mhm.
us. It happens to me
Sure.
constantly. I
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
but um, some authors are really there's they're hitting finish, hit the end, publish,
Yeah.
and that is just a nightmare on my side. Now that being
Yeah.
said, I understand it, and I understand you got to make money, but it just makes
Yeah.
my job tremendously more difficult. Um,
Right.
how many by the time it gets to the arc, is it still like a nightmare with you, or the couple editing passes in the beginning, or
No, yeah, usually I would say by the time it gets to arc, there's maybe a couple little typos. And actually, it's
uh,
mainly homophones at that point because homophones are my absolute kryptonite.
is that like the old school, like with the rotary telephone thing, or
Yep, that's exactly what no, it's
that's
like he hit the brakes, but it'll be spelled Breaks, even though it's
oh yeah,
been through 4 or 5 rounds of editing.
yep, those are always fun.
Yeah, yep. So those are the ones. Those are my kryptonite. I never get those right.
Yeah, with us, we like we're going to get books like that. It's just the way it
Yeah,
works, and it's the way,
yeah,
and you work your way through it.
yeah,
But it always helps to like if the author cares, like if they're like, "Oh,
mhm,
dude, I'm so
yeah,
fucking sorry." Like just that alone makes me feel so much better. It's like, okay,
yeah,
hey man, I'll work this through. I will work my ass
yeah,
off for you. It's no problem. Let's get her done.
yeah.
It sounds like you're getting it done correctly though, which is incredibly important, at least to some of the
I
people I
try.
talk to.
Yeah.
um, well, a lot of people have said that they're very, very excited about your new book that you're working on. So congratulations on that, and hopefully it comes out. Are you going to do a coloring book for this one too? I mean, you got the four. It's
Yep,
the
yeah, I
same.
plan to do it for this series. Obviously, I have to wait till the series is finished, so it'll be probably late next year sometime would be my guess. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right, unless I add more to the series. But yeah.
Are you bringing any fun things to GRL?
Oh my gosh, I don't know yet. I haven't even thought about my swag for GRL yet. Um, I have no idea. I do have cute little like construction helmet flashlights, which are fun. They're like
Those are neat.
keychain flashlights, so I like those. And other than that, I don't know yet.
I think we're doing Vicky came up with a solo glide. It's our own lube. So I think we're bringing our own lube this year. We're going to give people, it's going to be awesome.
That is an excellent idea.
Yeah. It's pineapple flavored and it says, "What's in your nightstand?"
That's amazing.
It's so good. Yeah. We got to get that figured out here very soon. Wait,
That's
she's bringing
amazing.
Mia. Mia's in the crowd. She says you're bringing Mia. So there you go. That is
Yes, I'm bringing Mia this year. Yep.
well, okay. You get a pass. You're all good. Well, hopefully we can hook up and go out to dinner at some point, all of us. That'd be
Yeah.
excellent when we're out there.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you've done great. Now's the part of the show where all I got to do is wave, and I know I missed some comments, so if you could jump in afterwards and look and
Yep.
answer any
Yep.
other
I'll take a
questions I
look.
missed, that'd be
Yep.
awesome. So have fun, guys. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Thanks.
Wave at the
Good
crowd.
chatting.